Good day, everyone. I am Karen Faith Lotino, a student researcher from Department of Physical Education, Institute of Sports, Physical Education and Recreation, University of Southern Mindanao, Cabacan, Philippines. At this point, I will be presenting my study entitled Activity Promotion Behaviors of Secondary School Teachers During COVID-19. So COVID-19 pandemic shattered the educational process in different places in the country. The alarming increase of cases resulting to lockdown where people was restricted to get out and in school become homeschooling. Students and teachers are not allowed to meet for lessons and activities. Both are forced to answer and check through modules and video presentations. As part of their homework, many students were required to document their performance through video and images. They shoot at home and more on printed materials to be done. Teaching and promoting physical activity in this type of school setting requires teacher to make an effort and need to make printed materials and instructional videos to send them to their students. Because of this, they are unable to deliver physical education program in a modular and online platform. Next is the method. This study employed a quantitative research design, specifically using tests of different approach. It was conducted via face-to-face survey using a questionnaire adopted from Gobi et al. 2020 in their study entitled Physical Education During School Closures Imposed by the First Wave of COVID-19 Pandemic, Physical Education Teachers' Behavior in France, Italy, and Turkey. To examine the result, 5-point Likert scale was used and mean and standard deviation were employed as a statistical tool to assess the survey result. Next is the result and discussion. The table 1, which is the demographic profile of the respondents. The respondents were 22 secondary school teachers teaching physical education, 27% with a frequency of 6 male, and 73 female with a frequency of 16. This showed that majority of the respondents were female. Next is a table 2.1. This is the respondents' behavior to promote physical activity before the lockdown. The data shows that before the COVID-19 lockdown, the respondents often guide students to engage in out-of-school physical activity, help set personal physical activity goal, and help students to self-monitoring physical activity in weighted mean of respondents' responses from 3.95 to 4.18. In terms of pedagogical format used by teachers to promote out-of-school physical activity, respondents' responses often use the text document, example is notebook, with the highest weighted mean of 4.23, and the lowest respondents' response rarely in using live streaming with the weighted mean of 2.41. Moreover, respondents' responses often in asking students to make some feedback about what they had actually done in the weighted mean of 3.77. In terms of format used in asking students to make this feedback, respondents' responses often in using a text document in the highest weighted mean of 3.82, and respondents sometimes use Smart App in the lowest weighted mean of 2.86. Next is the table 2.2, which is respondents' behavior to promote physical activity during the lockdown. The data shows that during the COVID-19 lockdown, the respondents sometimes guide students to engage in out-of-school physical activity in the weighted mean of 3.00 and helps set personal goal, physical activity goal in the weighted mean of 2.91, while respondents' responses of 10 in helping students to self-monitoring activity in the weighted mean of 3.45. In terms of pedagogical format used by teachers to promote out-of-school physical activity, highest respondents' responses of 10 in using videos in the weighted mean of 3.5. And the lowest respondents' responses never used live streaming in the weighted mean of 1.68. Moreover, respondents' responses sometimes in asking students to make some feedback about what they had actually done in the weighted mean of 3.05. In terms of format used in asking students to make this a feedback, respondents' responses often use pictures and videos in the highest weighted mean of 3.82, and respondents sometimes use smart apps in the lowest weighted mean of 3.18. Next is the table 3, the test of difference the significant difference between the respondents' satisfaction on face-to-face and online learning. Table 3.3, the data shows that there is a significant difference between the weighted mean of the behavior to promote physical activity during lockdown and behavior to promote physical activity before the lockdown. It reveals that the result that secondary school teachers behaviors of UP Maguindanao, Philippines, teaching physical education and promoting physical activity is more frequent and efficient before COVID-19 lockdown. Next is the conclusion. First, the COVID-19 lockdown does indeed have a negative impact on secondary school teachers teaching physical education in UP Maguindanao, Philippines in terms of promoting physical activity among students, achieving the goal of students' engagement and fulfillment and fulfilling their role as physical education teachers. Second, physical educators have a great deal of work in terms of reviewing records, recording and their students' individual performances, and investing nights viewing activities depending on the amount of videos. And lastly is physical education has mostly lost its identity. And last is the recommendation. First, it's recommended that future researchers should formulate an effective plan to improve the teaching approaches and behaviors of teachers in promoting physical activity for online learning in order to attain an authentic learning experience in physical education. It is also recommended to conduct and provide sufficient time to practice for a PE teachers to improve their teaching and learning different ways of giving activity and assessing students' performance to prepare them for the online setting and for the future purposes. And then also, this also recommend to provide a new program to BPED students to improve them socially, emotionally, and in their behavior since during COVID-19 lockdown, they work on their own and have a little chance of social interaction with their peers. So that's all, and thank you.